What up, Valtopia? Peace. Peace and cleansing sage to you. Happy Monday night. Blessings on a Monday night. Here we are. And I'm live at 9:30 on a Monday night. I'm usually asleep right now. But I've been with my kids all day. And I have a message I want to bring through. I won't take up too much of your time or my time, but the message will come through. I'll take up as much time as I need. Welcome to my stream. What I want to talk to you about tonight is about something I was really thinking about that was happening for me, for myself, through all this experience we're going through. And I can't see who's on here, so say hello. If there's a situation that we look at and our first reaction to it is inherent fear and terror, right? Because it's just like there's such a collective awareness that immediate reaction built into most of our DNA and most of us is an instant, like, subconscious and conscious and on all the dimensions reaction is then we can think about it, and we may come up with other scenarios, other ways to think about it and appease ourselves and do our meditation and do our fitness and make ourselves feel better. But if that first reactionary thought that we have about it is always that, I was thinking, what if we all did work around that first reactionary impression we have to this big scary thing that we're all experiencing together, so that instead of it feeling a big scary thing, the unknown, right? We're all going collectively through an unknown experience, and the ego and the nervous system wants to have a reaction. And that's not to say that whatever we're experiencing might genuinely create a fearful response, and we have to figure out from there. But if in our own minds we're instantly having a fearful reaction even when we're not thinking about it, how can we do the work to shift the energy around it and create a different response and create a different timeline and create a different energy for ourselves? How can we do that? I love those chords. Yeah. So that's what tonight's talk is about. I'm going to share this, and I've come up with I'm coming up, and it's coming in, a download's coming in to create a reboot for the reboot. Because this whole experience that we're going through feels like a reboot. A reboot is when everything gets shut down. Everything gets shut down. And when that happens, there's a complete regeneration and restart and clean slate that happens. And in the clean slateness, everything gets set back down to 0. So there's no sliders that are some at 7 and some at 9. Everything's down. And then you're able to dial the sliders back up again. And so I've got an experience a modality really of healing called the reboot. And it's about understanding where you've been, where you are now, and where you desire to be within yourself. We can't control others. We're all connected. We get to choose what we're experiencing inside of ourselves. And in understanding our own reaction, our own first reaction to the experience that we're having, and realizing that for many of us, we may be having a la la la, I don't want to know response. And in doing so, we're not allowing ourselves to be fully immersed in our intentions each day to create a different response within ourselves to what's happening outside of us. So that if collectively within ourselves, we can be so much more powerful about our own creation and response, we will have a different response on the outside. That is what so many of us have been learning and moving through and shifting out of terrible situations where we were in crises, and we moved beyond the crises into places where we were empowered and creating and manifesting from within ourselves and seeing reflected outside of us the shift within ourselves. That is still the case whether you're in a crisis or not, and I would love to bring forward a reboot for the reboot where we take a look at what is our initial response to what's happening. what is happening inside of us, and how are we going to be more intentional about moving forward through this experience. So, you know, I was going to share this, but that's my message. I would love to pull a Sacred Rebel card. If you didn't catch it today, I offered to pull readings for a lot of people today. So I think I did a lot, and it took quite a bit of energy, and I just sort of randomly scrolled up and down and let it land. Whoever was glowing up for me, I pulled cards. If you would still like to get a Sacred Rebel pull with the Fuck Yeah deck and the question card on that thread on my page, then hit me up on PayPal, give me some juice, and I'll tune into you. So the card that is coming through for us today, we have 3 cards coming through for us today, is Hi Amanda, is Come to Life, Come to Life, Focus on the Light, and Seeing the True You. Come to life, focus on the light, and seeing the true you. And the cards that I had already pulled in my journal here before I decided to come on live late at night when I'm usually chilling by myself in my bed, in my fuzzy sheets, I was like, no, I got to get this message out because tomorrow there will be a new message. And I posted earlier today, coming on live with a message later, and then I almost changed it to say, coming on live tomorrow with today's message, and I thought, no, that's not appropriate. So worthiness came through my card pull tonight. Worthiness, and all of this discussion that at the top of my live stream where I'm talking about what is your initial trigger response to a situation when it is like a higher level of intensity than what you're used to, when it's pushing you way out of your comfort zone. For example, what all of us are experiencing right now. What is your response? Your initial, like when you go to think about it, and then you do all your work to tone it down or come into resonance or be balanced. But what is that first thought you're having about it? What scenarios are playing out when you're laying there at 3 o'clock in the morning that you're trying to shut off? Or if you're drinking more heavily, or if you're numbing out, or if you're choosing to kind of stuff down that initial sort of play out that you have. Let us look at the play out you have about it and work through it together so you can create some better intentions. The example I have for this is when you have something in your mind and you're not telling anybody about it, and you just let it roll around in your mind, and you let it roll around in your mind, and you don't even really, maybe you're not even conscious that you're thinking about it. But meanwhile, there's this whole creation happening behind the scenes, feelings and attachments and resonances that aren't happening in a continuous line, like as if you sat with a journal and wrote out a whole story. It's happening in these little spurts throughout your day and throughout your evening. Maybe you're at lunch with a friend and it washes over you. And you get this flash of the whole scene. And you think, oh. Right? And then maybe an hour and a half later, you're driving home from the coffee shop, or, well, now you're not because you're sequestered at home. But later you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about everything that's happening, and it's so unusual, and it's so different, and it's so completely not what you expected. And you think about it, another flash of it, and it's really scary, but you won't want to think about it, and you don't want to see what you're imagining. And so you flash and you push it away. And then another hour later, right? And so you're building up something inside of you little by little throughout the day, each day. You're actually creating something. In your denial, in your fearful place of wanting to shut out what really feels you're unavailable for, you're actually being so available for it by little pieces throughout the day. So what we want to do is take presence of where you're thinking about what, just like we do all the time, because those thoughts are adding up to a part of you that's becoming attached to a vision that doesn't have to be, and that you can shape and shift inside of you, the vision inside of you, the feeling within you, right? So that is where we must all take time to meditate. And when I say meditate, it means to be quiet within yourself, or to get inside of that within yourself and get clear, to reboot to neutral settings. And so that's why I'm going to offer the reboot for the reboot, so that you can feel that neutral place within yourself every day and return to that and reset and find if you're creating allegiances or energetically attaching to a story and in a whole timeline that's forming in these little pieces throughout your day, where you're having a fearful thought and then not wanting to think about it and ignoring it, but then you keep coming back to it and coming back to it. Let's face it. Let's face what's coming up inside of there. Let's look at it and let's regenerate it, so that throughout your day, instead of having this fearful triggered response that you're trying to stuff down and hide that's manifesting in other ways, we can feel a peace and a clarity and be creating a strengthful vision of purpose and connection to focus for ourselves. That's going to create a different outcome within ourselves, within each other, that collectively creates a different experience and response. This is where we have to have faith that what we believe in and what we see reflected outside of us is a manifestation of our inner belief. But for many, I've seen some people aligning that to disparaging perhaps reports that the people have out in the news. That's not what we're talking about. We're really talking about your own management of your own inner peace and beingness, because it has such a powerful ripple effect out beyond you and for you, and because it can change the dynamic of everything. So your worthiness and your feelings and what comes through for you is vital. So decide your choice. And this is what distinguishes leaders from those that are looking outside of themselves for answers, and those many of us have been over time. And as you decide to look at this inside of yourself and to really feel and know and play out the scenario that you're taking in drips and drabs and creating something out of. Rip that off like a Band-Aid. Get in there and see what it is, and see where it registers in your body, and then see if that's true for you right now. And if it's not, and it's not yet, many of the what-if scenarios that most of our nervous systems are playing out are not happening yet. Yet we're living in our own bodies the reality of something that hasn't happened yet, and allowing in those little moments where we think about it and then don't think about it and think, oh no, that's not what. Those little moments, we need to go ahead right from the start, right now, before we create a foundation of experience around this, create our own intentional cellular structural body beingness about it moving forward. Do you feel me on this, whoever's live with me right now? And you'll have to go back and watch the replay, because this is really powerful. And I'm gonna go into this more tomorrow, but I wanted to drop this. So leap into the truth of your fear that you're facing, and reboot the reboot, in the sense that you're going to understand the parts and pieces of you that might be predicting a fearful scenario, and look at what's coming up for you, and do the work of letting yourself feel, know, and experience that fearful response, and then deal with it, and then shift your own dynamic of how you're going to be with it. That's where the crisis is tricking us into feeling helpless, like we don't have any power and we can't adjust ourselves to things that maybe we feel we're powerless against outside of us. Perhaps we are to some of those things right now in this moment, and we get to look at how we're responding and not allow some sort of blind trigger response to shut down examining the feelings that we're having and the fearful response scenario that we're kind of stuffing down and then replaying over and over and over again throughout our day. Let yourself feel and see what's coming up for you, face it, and then regenerate it intentionally every day. A crisis doesn't take away your ability to take a look at where you're collapsing and where you're expanding, and how to integrate that into a powerful, cohesive frequency that is you. Crisis doesn't take that permission and responsibility away. And in fact, this is your permission to stay in resonance with your integration, with your grounded, centered beingness, and to examine with loving compassion where you might be giving into some stories because you've been triggered in fear. Let's look at that and let's empower you with this. So I have a solution for this. I'm going to be bringing it through tomorrow. Let me know as you're watching this playback if you're in Australia or you're in England or you're up late and you're watching this, or if you, as you're getting up tomorrow morning on the East Coast and watching this early in the morning. Let me know this resonated for you and private message me. I've got some new special offers coming through this week. And today there was one offer that I made, and I don't know if you caught my live stream this morning, but I said I would be dropping interesting offers on. Good, Sarah. I'm glad you needed to hear it. Yeah, I found it a little bit hard to explain because I was really just coming into my own awareness of it today. Not today, I've been thinking of it and I've been receiving the container for this. And because this is what I do, right? Like my gift is to guide you from the bridge of pre-embodiment into another level of embodiment, you know, shifting the paradigm from one place to another. And that's what we're doing here. Whether we like the paradigm we're shifting into or the way it's going down or not is irrelevant. The fact is it's happening. So would you like to be guided through the reboot with the powerful reboot of your own perceptions and beliefs around the general reboot that's happening? Wouldn't you rather be super clear, fresh, glown up, and present with yourself and the possible triggers and bullshit you're telling yourself that's incapacitated? What's the word I'm looking for? Making you feel incapacitated and making you see others as less than capable. And so not everyone's fully tapping in to their power. Thank you, Sarah. I love that. Well, this reboot, I would like to have, more people at a lower cost in this experience. The reboot. This is something where I'd like to have many of us, not low cost, but several, like maybe 33. And we're going to really face this energy as a collective and regenerate all of our energy centers around it so that we can be aware when we're playing into the story versus when we're actually able to shift the dynamic, so we don't get fooled. We don't just like get taken over. We're totally getting disrupted. We're completely getting disconnected from each other in a physical way. Like our entire life is being shifted all around the globe. Everybody is getting rebooted. We all could have our theories around what is good or bad for us or what's happening. But you know what's really great? You get to make sure that you're at full capacity for your own experience of this. You were born in this time. You're like alive during this experience. You probably have people you care about, you're responsible for beyond yourself. And let's have you be in the most clear and present and neutral state of being to thrive through this experience no matter what. You get to do that all the time. It's interesting that it takes a crisis for many of us to believe that we're worthy of that, but that's the truth. And that's why you see so many people who have had a terrible life experience in the past few years have been rising up as self-help guides and healers and making money and doing things. They had to rise up through crisis to find that level of integrity within themselves and to face those fears. And that's what we're all being offered right now at the same time. And this is my jam. So let's reboot the reboot. So I came up with the name tonight. This is my first stream about it. This is the first you're hearing about it, Sarah. If you want to get in first, I'll give you a special, amazing special prize, Sarah, if you decide to join us on this. And I'll do I'm going to stay up a little bit tonight and make the sign for it, and we'll drop it tomorrow. It's very informal because I'm keeping things fresh right now and staying in the energy of now. and letting my ability to be flexible that way and tap into my gifts shine for us. So this time and everything we're going through, I feel super blessed and ready to guide through. Yours was a relived trauma 4 years ago. Is what's going on now bringing it up for you? I feel like there's a message in the guide from the Sacred Rebels here. Come to light, focus on the light, signature you. Come to life. I think that's the one we need to look at. Come to life. You are the most sacred of all sacred artworks. You are bringing yourself to life now, and this is how it must be. Of course, something being essential doesn't mean it will always be easy. You must support yourself and have courage during this process. Your monkey mind is not to run the show. It might have a lot to say, and at times it seems very convincing, but it is not the one in charge. Your mind can inspire you with ideas. However, it's the real you that speaks through your rebellious sacred heart and is living your life, not the monkey mind. The mind is not much more than a swirling cacophony of habitual reactions, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. The mind is not much more than a swirling cacophony of habitual reaction. Are you leaning into habitual reaction around your thoughts, around what's happening now? Are you staying present with all of your reactions to everything? Or are you letting some of it be just by rote because it's so tied into a state of fear or survival, or you're getting super distracted by everything you have to do, and you're tired, and you're not doing the things you need to do to not get caught up in your monkey mind. The monkey mind doesn't have everything that's equipped to deal with the situation that all of you does. That's why we talk about integration and embodiment and doing this work. Your monkey mind's just one part of you. If all you do is rely on the monkey mind, we're not allowing all of your resources to the table. To the experience, to the moment, to the situation. So beneath habitual thoughts, there's a deep, sensual, creative, and energetic awakening happening to you. It's so far beyond what the mind is now capable of controlling. Others might not like it because it shakes things up. Coming to life tends to do that. However, it is happening now, and the only real choice you have to make is how to deal with it. Coming to life means feeling. It might bring joy, but it could equally bring sadness, rage, or fear. It could bring all of these and more. You might need to paint, write, enact rituals, sing, or dance your feelings. We need to get to the feelings. This is what the reboot is about. Let's get to the feelings. Let's get to the feelings. Don't hold back. Create the space for yourself to do this. In this process, you are uncovering the artistry of the universal creator. You are honoring the sacredness of life by exploring it without restraint, and that includes the flow of your feelings. You don't have to do anything with them other than express them. You may want to analyze, you may not. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're getting in touch with the feeling. Learning how to access your feelings allows you to learn how to access your intuition, creative inspiration, and genuine internal guidance. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These aspects flow from the same place and are often couched within your feelings in the form of emotions as well as physical sensations, right? We're getting information and we're denying it because we're in a crisis, so we're not allowed to feel those feelings. And it's like, yes, you are. You're still allowed to tune into your information and receive your genius. Don't let the crisis take away your sovereign capacity to feel and know what you need to do to regulate yourself. I'm so glad I came online. Sarah says, I'm at my strongest point as of yet. Yes, due to the growth and expansion I have to make. A trauma happened as a child and you relived it 4 years ago. It pushed you into the reboot. I feel you. I feel you. So you did the reboot with me. So are you ready to do it again? Are you ready to reboot the reboot? Yeah. And that trauma probably awakened so many parts of you that also split you, and now you're coming back together, aren't you? so powerfully. So, to come into your sensuality, you will need to anchor your experiences. Well, I think the message came through, and my throat's feeling a little strained because I've been with my kids all day, and I was pulling those cards and everything. I'm going to go take a hot salt bath, and I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to wake up early like I like to do, and I'll be on tomorrow to bring this message and to drop the reboot. To the reboot, if you didn't see the offer today, you can get a portrait, one of my portraits, access to all of my pre-recorded content, the reboot, the Clean Slate, Clear Vision, Abundance Awakening, Epic Video Rockstar. All of this content would be so great for someone, everyone transitioning into working from home and on video and sharing your experience and guiding others to feel their feelings, to be present with what's happening now, so you can come into a neutral space and make better decisions and change the outcome of our experience for all of us. If you want to know how to have that and the portrait, it's $15.55 today, and that is not available normally at that, like for that rate. And this is in a week of Voxer support. So I want to invite you to that, and if that's not where you are right now, the reboot to the reboot. It's going to be a group experience. I'll drop it tomorrow. It'll be even more accessible. And then, of course, I have my one-to-one momentum, 3 weeks. Jump in right now. Keep the energy going. And this support right now is about you finding your greatest center and really showing up to bring through the wisdom and guidance that you do have for so many people. Like I came through my crisis a few years ago. You know, when I came up and started showing up live, I was in my worst moment, and it felt like everything was burning around me and falling apart. And all of us have the capacity to stream through divine solutions and connect to each other in love and compassion and creation and be in our purpose no matter what the fuck is going on. And the more you decide, just as I did when I was in crisis and didn't have any money, to put myself on the line and make sure I had support to not let myself down, and not today, wrong team, right? I make sure, and I'm here to make sure you are holding up your vision through crisis, into joy, into bliss, into peace, no matter what, because you're a powerful creator and you're creating anyway. So instead of creating little worry moments all throughout the day, get a hold of your shit and create power within you. Create integrity. Stay the course to your vision, no matter what. Sarah says, I'm working on it. Message me more about your reboot. I'll answer in the morning. I have to go to bed. Me too, Sarah. All right, we'll talk in the morning. I know you're going to be in there, and I'm going to guide you some more, because you're rising and shining and awakening. And everything you've been through is the answer to a whole constellation prayer. Just like for me. Just like you guys are my constellation. And if I had said no, if I didn't say yes and yes and yes and yes and yes again through each crisis I've been through, to rise up into integrity and be in a neutral state of being, to allow the divine love and solutions to come through me, you wouldn't have the reboot 2 years ago to help you out of your pain, and so many more people the same. And I follow it in the simplest way, by tuning into my feelings and seeing what it means to me and coming into the most integrated state of being. I know how to do this with you. This is what it's going to take for us as a collective to shift the dynamic of our energy. We are leaders. I can't wait to see you guys in the reboot to the reboot. Sarah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Own your frequency. There's nobody like you. See you tomorrow.